Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Lindsay Humphreys, and I'm the Program Director for Junior Achievement of New Mexico. You are all attending our virtual career speaker series, and this program is open to JA students across New Mexico. And this program highlights business professionals, entrepreneurs, and innovative thinkers from a variety of industries. Each featured speaker will share details about their education, their job, and their career journey. Before we get started, every time we go through our virtual meeting etiquette reminders. So just a reminder that this is recorded and will be posted on our YouTube channel for anyone who is not able to attend today. And feel free to send that YouTube link to anyone in your network. For our record, if you could take a moment and please type your first and last name into the chat box. And if you're an educator on the call or a parent on the call who has students with you, please let us know how many students are on the call with you in the chat box as well. The chat box is in the top right-hand corner that has the little dialogue box. And so then everybody during the speaker's presentation, please make sure your mics are muted. And if you have questions, make sure you take note of them on paper, or you can put them into the chat box. And our Office and Events Coordinator, Patricia St. Lo, will be facilitating the chat box. So today we are so excited to welcome Marsha Majors, CEO of U.S. Eagle Credit Union. Marsha leads U.S. Eagle Credit Union and is the country's first African-American female CEO of a $1 billion credit union. Marsha, the floor is yours. I'm going to share my screen and we can get started.
Great. Thank you, Lindsay, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity and the invitation to share with you a little bit about my organization, myself, and just a few thoughts on my leadership journey. Now, the first slide you have in front of you, many of you just might be familiar with this building. If you've traveled anywhere near the Big I-40 and I-25, you've probably seen the U.S. Eagle building and the plaza downtown. This was a first for credit unions in New Mexico to be so prominent in the Albuquerque community, and we're extremely proud of that visibility. So with that, let's get started. So a little bit about U.S. Eagle. We are the oldest credit union in the state of New Mexico, and it's been our mission the entire time to create a world where people matter more than the numbers. We strive each and every day to deliver on that mission, and we do that through our core values. Those values are sincerity, objectivity, urgency, and learning. We do this so we can serve over 80,000 members, and we're responsible, as you heard earlier, for over $1 billion of their funds. That's a huge responsibility. We're able to do this with the support of 270 amazing employees. And we currently have 9 branch locations, and our 10th we hope to open early next year. So moving on about the work that we do as a credit union. As a credit union, we're cooperative. And what that means is that a group of people have come together to pool their resources with the philosophy of people helping people. And unlike banks, credit unions are democratically controlled, and we're owned by our members, not by our shareholders. And what that actually means is that our members own a share of the credit union, and they call all the shots. Anyone can join a credit union without judgment. And what's different about a credit union is that it's one member, one voice, one vote. And each of those voices has the same volume, no matter their balance or their relationship with us. So based on our philosophy of people helping people and our cooperative principles, our work is all about ensuring that the lives of our members are enriched. Like banks, credit unions accept deposits, we make loans, and we provide a wide variety of other financial products and services, but we do so with better rates. Credit unions also do a great job of networking together as an industry. We're often there when other financial institutions may not be. So we're extremely proud of that legacy as well. In the slide before you, you'll see that there's some advocacy. You see us meeting with Senator Martin Heinrich. That's a big part of what we do. We meet regularly with elected officials on both the state and the national level. We do so to discuss their decisions that can help us better serve our members, or oftentimes it may be decisions they're making that prevent us from serving our members. So we take advantage of meeting with our representatives to ensure that we can continue to deliver on that mission promise. Also before you is a photo of some of the financial literacy work that we do. That's another cooperative principle that we have. We're actively involved in financial education, and we know that with that financial knowledge, a person can make better decisions. And that's one of our responsibilities, is help guide them towards that financial management. What we discovered over the years in regards to financial literacy is that the biggest gap we found out there was among our youth. It's absent. So we took it upon ourselves many years ago to fill that gap. We often invite students from around the state to participate in a variety of financial management courses. And we take that opportunity to help them walk through real life scenarios and the responsibilities that go along with that. One in particular program is called Mad City Money, which we've taken on the road, and it's now also online. Community Give Back. Here we're celebrating with one of our partners, Casa Esperanza. Community Give Back is also a principle that remains top of mind for US Eagle. And we give back to our communities all the time, and we work extremely closely with several other nonprofits. But those that are near and dear to our hearts are those nonprofits that involve food insecurities, and particularly those involving young people. So moving on towards my journey in becoming CEO. So prior to becoming the CEO of US Eagle, I had a desire to teach in primary education, but somewhere along the way, I caught the financial services bug and went on to pursue a degree in business administration from the University of Phoenix. Fortunately, all was not lost from that element of teaching. The credit union, through its financial literacy programs, particularly those dedicated to youth audiences, gave me the opportunity to have the best of both worlds. I came up through the ranks in the credit union. I started out as a retirement account servicer, and in that role, it afforded me the ability to continue to teach those within the organization and train them on other subject matters important to the credit union. It was probably after a year that I thought a change was in order for me personally, and I did have plans to leave the organization. It seems that all too often people have to leave where they started for opportunities, but in my case, fortunately, that didn't happen. I had the luxury of having a CEO at that time who saw the potential in me and encouraged me to stay. He invested in me, which was something he didn't have to do at that particular time because I had only contributed 1 year of my expertise to the organization. This individual, for me, went on to provide other leadership opportunities and became one of my biggest advocates and mentors. And here I am 30 years later, enjoying the work that I do. As the primary advocate of US Eagle's brand culture, my role in all of that work involves the primary responsibility to ensure that our mission is carried out, also that we're delivering on our core values. It's defining the vision for the future, and also working with our volunteer board of directors to set the strategy for our continued growth and longevity. We want to be around another 85 years. Because we're so responsible for not only our members' deposits, but also their financial literacy, um, we're entrusted with a huge responsibility. And because of that, we are heavily regulated. And so there's a significant focus on safety and soundness, making sure that the credit union is here tomorrow and the next day and for decades to come. And a typical day for me starts out with a review of daily reports indicating where we stand. And then I coordinate with my executive assistant to go over the day's agenda. After that, I spend somewhere near 9 to 10 hours a day evaluating the work of my executive team. There's also assessing and managing risk to the organization, reading up on economic and industry news. And then there's prepping for committee meetings and board meetings. And of course, I couldn't go without fielding a bunch of emails. I find that oftentimes after I leave the office, I have to take the time to catch up on other conversations and follow up on those that I may have missed while in the office that day. So that's a typical day. But as I've continued through my journey, I've had the opportunity to look at a multitude of ways in which I can continue to improve on my leadership. So the next slide here you'll see references a few of those that have stood out for me. There are often some people who, I guess you'll say, are natural born leaders. Then there are others that have to learn and grow into that role. And I found that over the course of my career, there were many valuable leadership characteristics out there. Some of those were more important than others, and it really depended on the industry that you were in. What I have found to be my power profile is being less about impressing and more about imprinting. I like to lead by example. I think they refer to that now as servant leadership. What that truly means for me is that it's putting people first. And in our organization, it's all about our employees because they are paramount to our success. I chose in my journey to lead with those characteristics that resonated the most with me personally. And that started off for me with honesty and integrity. I believe that they're the two most important ingredients which makes a good leader. You succeed when you stick to your values and your core beliefs. And it's also very important to abide by the rules. At the same time, however, you do have to admit when you've made a mistake. And in the credit union, we like to refer to that as fess it, fix it, and move on. It's going to happen, but if you learn from it, then it was worth the effort. Another for me was vision and purpose. Having a clear and achievable vision of who you are and where you want to be, and more importantly, sharing that with your team, because your team can't perform at their best if they don't know where they're going. So along with that, you also have to explain the why behind the direction in which you're taking your team, because then you have their commitment, which takes us to commitment and passion. You have to love what you're doing. You have to be passionate about what you're doing, because when your team knows that, they're all in and you gain their trust and their energy to achieve the goals that you've set for yourself. Also, as a leader, you have to know that you can't do everything. You know, you sometimes want to be the superstar, but delegation and empowerment plays such a key role in that. And that was a lesson I had to learn early on, is that you have to share the load. So you focus on the key responsibilities and you leave the rest for the others to do and empower them with getting that job done. When it comes to accountability, as a leader, it's about taking a bigger share of the blame and less of the credit, because you do nothing by yourself. It's all about a collective effort. But you always have to hold people accountable for their actions. You do this in an effort to create a sense of responsibility. But as time went on and as I grew further into my leadership role, I recognized that there were other characteristics that I wanted to be better at. So I focus on building and further strengthening those characteristics. And some of those you see here, such as risk taking. This is a critical element of leadership. I believe it's essential for a leader to be effective. However, it comes with failures. And after a while, I eventually learned that failures are okay. As long as they offset your wins, they're okay. And that you also learn from those mistakes. A few others that I identified for myself that I could improve upon were being open-minded. I always thought I was pretty open-minded and always had the ability, I thought, to see things easily from different perspectives, but discovered that wasn't the case all the time. And by listening to my peers and some of my team members, they helped me to identify that. And so that was one that I did work to improve upon. Transparency. That's also one of the best ways to win trust of those in which you're leading. To openly share information, you only help your team feel more empowered and you gain further engagement along the way. And of course, there's empathy. It's important for all of us, I believe, whether you're a leader or not, to recognize challenges that others may be facing. And along with that comes the willingness to listen and to connect with people emotionally, walking a mile in their shoes and looking through someone else's lens. Finally, there's decision making. Decisions that you make as a leader have such a profound impact on the masses. And although some of those decisions I make on my own, I often consult with my team members, other stakeholders, because after all, they are the ones who will execute or may benefit or sometimes even suffer from the decisions that are made. So it's important to gain insight from others that potentially might be affected. Now, with all of that being said, leadership development plays an important role in one's success. For me, I did take advantage of a large variety of leadership opportunities that were within my organization, outside the organization, amongst many peer groups. I did my own self-study, and I reaped the benefit of mentors. I just can't say enough about mentors. They are so important to one's growth and longevity. I will say to this very day, I've retained the spirit in which we deliver our mission because of that earlier mentoring relationship I had with our former CEO. They're out there everywhere, and so I encourage all of you to look out for them. Your participation today is a great example in this program of seizing a development opportunity. So I congratulate you for that. So the next slide here is an example of one such development opportunity that we have within the credit union for youth in our community. We're so proud of this program. It's our junior board of directors. We refer to them as JBODs. This group of young people, they serve as volunteers, and they're tasked with some pretty hefty responsibilities, such as sponsoring a community service project. They have to decide what the project is, determine the outcome of that, and put in all the work of planning for that. They also have an objective of providing insight on existing credit union products and services to management and our senior board of directors. This is amazing information for any organization, is to pick the brains of the next generation. So we are so proud of the work that they're doing. The other objective that these individuals have is teaming up with youth entrepreneurs to develop business strategies. And they're also a potential pipeline for future board positions. So I encourage you to always look for other opportunities to take responsibility, take leadership roles, because it only can help you in your life, whether it's parenting, leading an organization, running your own business. Learning from others should always be ongoing, because I believe if you're not learning, you're being left behind. So the final thought that I have for everyone today to close out with would probably be that you always understand and know your unique value. And what I mean by that is, don't allow others to put you in a box. You have to know your worth and what you have to offer. And along with that, if becoming a leader is part of your expectation and where you want to go, I would suggest that if you have to choose a single leadership characteristic, that without a doubt, I would make that honesty and integrity, because I believe that they are the foundation for everything, and they're fundamental to who you are and how you choose to live your life. So with that, I thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for having me. And I will turn it back over to Lindsay.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing those, your words of wisdom. It's very empowering to hear it from community members who are such an influence in the community. So thank you so much. We do have a couple of questions that came through during our registration. So I'm going to start us off for our registration questions. So the first question is, have you always wanted to do this career? You kind of touched on that earlier. And then, did you always see yourself being in this career?
Well, obviously, I wanted to teach, and I think eventually I'll probably get back to that after I retire from here, is doing something in a teaching realm. But I always felt that I had something to give back that would be more than a one-time solution for folks. It's about giving back a lifetime pieces of information. And I think in my role as CEO, and even before becoming CEO, that I had the ability to do that, because what we do each and every day is about impacting someone's life. If it's going to college, funding their education, if it's helping them buy their first home, we educate them on how to go about that smartly and wisely, and how to manage their financial affairs. So to me, those are lifelong lessons. And so I think that I chose the right career move for now.
Thank you. Question number 2. If you could give only one piece of advice to a young woman wanting to go into a career in business, what would it be?
I have to go back to mentorship, because, as I said earlier, you can be your own self-advocate, but sometimes you need some outside resources to help you show up in the right places, or have things identified for you that maybe you haven't identified for yourself. And it's having that fresh set of eyes to help you see where you have opportunities to grow and point you in the right direction. So I think mentors, and I'll say also, don't just seek mentors that are like you. Look for those that have different things that you want to learn more about.
Let me ask one follow-up question to that. So what would you recommend for someone who is trying to seek out their first mentor in their high school years, when they're trying to figure out what they want to do?
Do you mean as far as where would they go, or questions?
How would you make that first connection?
Well, I guess my suggestion would be to say, I noticed that you are an expert in whatever the subject matter might be. That's something I'm interested in. Would you have time to share a little bit more about that with me? And I would be surprised if 99% of the times you didn't get a yes, because who doesn't want to brag about what they do and help share that with other folks? So that would be my approach.
Thank you so much. We have some questions that are in the chat, so I'm going to hand it over to Patricia St. Lo to facilitate the chat.
Thank you, Marsha, for being with us today. So the first question in the chat is, in college, what was your major and what led you to this profession?
Well, it started out wanting to teach, as I said before, and then moved into business. And the business led to the career in the credit union or financial services industry. I did work for a savings and loan before I came to the credit union, so I knew that that was somewhere I wanted to be.
Awesome. And we have someone who would like to know what the U.S. Eagle logo symbolizes.
Well, it's had a journey, like most of us. As the oldest credit union in the state, when we first started, it looked just like the bird, the actual eagle. And as we evolved as a credit union, our name originally was Albuquerque U.S. Employees. In the 90s, we changed our name to U.S. New Mexico. And so with that change, we tweaked our image and our logo. And then we changed our name again in 2015 to U.S. Eagle. And that was simply because that's how our members refer to us. And so our logo today is representative of a more modern and futuristic approach to the bird. If you look at it with that intent, it still has the beak of the eagle. And so we think that that will continue to carry us into the next century.
Thank you so much, Marsha. And we just have another comment that they really enjoyed your enthusiasm for your work and your good values.
Thank you.
Excellent. So I'm going to open up to anybody who would like to unmute and have their question asked to Marsha if they would like to. Otherwise, we will wrap up. All righty. So thank you so much, Marsha, for sharing and joining us on this program today. Just before we log off, there's a couple of comments we need to say. So following this program, all the students that joined us today, they will be sent a post-program mindset survey. If you complete this survey, you'll be entered into a drawing to win a Dion's gift card. Huge thank you to Dion's, who has graciously partnered with Junior Achievement to provide gift cards to our lucky survey respondents. Teachers, please make sure that you link this or you send the survey link to the students that are on the call with you. That will help us. They can also fill out the survey as well. And if you fill out the survey by Friday, you'll be entered into the drawing to win the gift card on Monday. And lastly, please keep an eye out for your emails for our registration links for the upcoming month of October. Next week, we welcome Serena Petez. She is the VP of Marketing Business Development for Loveless Health Systems. So thank you so much, Marsha, and thank you for joining us today, and thank you for everyone who's on the call. And we'll see you all next week.
My pleasure. Everyone, take care. Bye-bye.